Hey everyone, this is Into the Ether, and I, of course, am Sylvie Smith. Once again, it has been quite some time since I've posted a video, and I'm going to do something just a little bit different tonight, and I know I say that often, but this definitely is going to be a bit different because this is going to be more of a philosophical type video. And the reason for that is because of a lot of changes that have been going on in my life recently. So part of the reason that I haven't posted in quite a while is because a lot of things have been shifting and changing and are very, very different for me at the moment. And I have found myself having even less time to make videos and content for my channel than I was having previously. But all of these things have to do with the topic that I really want to discuss in my video, because I had an epiphany today, and within the last few days, I've actually started to shift my perception somewhat, and I've really come to understand some things that I understood in concept before, but I don't think that I was actually really applying them into my actual existence. And that's part of the thing that I want to share with everyone, is the realizations that I've come to over the last month or so, and especially within the last couple of days. So in this video, I'm not going to do a lot of editing or anything like that. I'm really just going to explain my insights to you and my intuitions and the reason that I have decided to do this video. And that's part of the reason that I gave it the title that I gave it, The True Nature of Reality and Our Place Within the Cosmos, is because that's one of the things that I've come to understand a little bit better, and I've come to realize just here recently in my own life. So I want to start a bit with the philosophies that I have, so to speak, and then I'm going to get a little bit more into my personal experiences. And another reason that this video is going to be a little bit different than what I usually post is because I struggle a little bit with what kind of content I should actually post on this channel. And the reason for that is because I'm actually a very private person, and I know that might seem a little bit weird given the nature of some of my other videos, but I am a very private person, and even though I do share a lot of things about my visions and my medium readings and things like that, that really isn't super personal to me, because those are just my abilities, or those are just the things that come to me easily. But the things that I don't share are the things that I'm actually going through in my personal life, or my I guess my beliefs I do share to a certain extent, but I don't get really, really deep into my beliefs. And I also don't share really my hopes or my dreams very much. So this video is going to get a little bit real. I'm definitely going to be a little bit vulnerable, and that is outside of my comfort zone. So this is going to be a new experience for me, and really for everybody listening, because although I do try to be very honest on my channel, I don't always share those innermost things about myself. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing some of that in this video, and once again, I'll be explaining exactly why I've decided to do that. So let's do a little bit more of the philosophical to start with, like I was saying, and let's talk about the true nature of reality. Now, this is actually a topic that can get pretty deep and pretty intensive if you want to take it there. And it's also something that's going to inadvertently spawn off all of these other topics and all these other subjects, just because of the fact that it is so complex. But like I talk about a lot, I'm not probably going to get in super deep in this video. This is just going to be kind of an introduction to the things that I've experienced and the things that I believe, and then on down the road, hopefully I'll be doing some more videos that will get a little bit deeper into these topics, And I'd also really like to start doing live streams on the channel as well. So I'm hoping that some of this information or some of what I have to share is going to lead into a bit of growth on the channel, because I'd like to branch out into live streams and things like that. So anyway, when I speak about the true nature of reality, what I am talking about is why we see the reality that we see and how exactly these things are really playing out within existence based on my experiences. So once again, I usually always throw some kind of a little disclaimer out there to let people know that these are my opinions. These are my interpretations. These are concepts and philosophies that are based on my personal experiences, okay? And if you do not agree, or if you have had other experiences that conflict with anything that I'm saying, then I'm willing and open to hear what you have to say. I am not saying that what I have experienced or that what I believe is 100% what happens. It is just what I believe to be the case based on what I have experienced and what I have interpreted my experiences to be, essentially. So basically what I'm trying to get to here is that, especially at this point in time, I think it's a fairly well-known concept of a multiverse, right? Because we talk about it all the time now. This used to be something that was very science fiction, that was very controversial, that a lot of people probably just never even thought about in their daily lives or anything like that. But now we have all of these movies. We have the superhero movies that talk about the multiverse. We have TV that talks about, like TV shows and stuff like that talk about time travel. Of course, we have tons of time travel movies and stories and all kinds of things. So it's not a foreign concept, but at this point in time, it's become relatively mainstream that, there may or may not be a multiverse. Well, going outside of the realm of science fiction, okay, we are talking about actual experiences within the human perception of reality, okay? So I am trying to tell you that in my beliefs, in my experiences, there is in fact multiple realities. So essentially you could say, yes, a multiverse does exist. And I know that this is kind of a difficult concept to wrap your head around, especially if you've never thought about it before. If you've only ever thought about a singular universe, a singular existence where you basically are born and you experience life and then you die and you go to some kind of afterlife, and which is perfectly normal. I mean, that's what most people, I think, probably do believe is actually happening in their existence. And I too, certainly throughout my life, that has been my perception as well. With the exception of, I have always leaned more towards there being something along the lines of rebirth or reincarnation, because that has always gone a little bit more along with my experiences or my, I guess, collected beliefs, the things that I have gathered, the concepts that I have gathered into my acceptance, I suppose you would say, throughout my life. So my perception would have been similar, right? It would have been the birth, living your life, death, and then rather than going to an afterlife, it would be rebirth or reincarnation. And then coming, obviously full circle through that, however many multiple times you may or may not live. And then, of course, I've mentioned several times on the channel that in my belief structure, there would also be a point where you could potentially ascend to a higher plane of existence, and then your cycle of birth and rebirth would end, and you would ascend to a higher plane of existence where you would have a better understanding of existence and reality and all those type of things as well. I hope that I'm not going too quickly for anyone, and I hope that I'm not making these concepts difficult to understand or difficult to follow. When you have something in your own mind and you think about it on a fairly regular basis, sometimes when you're trying to explain it to other people, it can get a bit chaotic or it can seem unorganized. And it may make it a little bit more difficult to understand where I'm trying to go with some of these things. So if you do feel like I'm going too quickly or I'm getting a little bit too off track or I'm getting too many topics into one thought or one sentence, please do let me know in the comments, because I am trying really hard not to do that. But like I said, this is a bit different than what I usually do. So it's probably going to be a little bit unorganized or a little bit unorthodox at the very least to start with, and then hopefully we'll be able to get things that are a little bit more coherent and cohesive on down the line as I continue to make these type of videos. At any rate, back to the topic at hand. That's another thing that does make this concept a little bit convoluted and strange when you start thinking about the additional concept of reincarnation. So how does reincarnation fit into multiple realities or the multiverse? And I'm not sure that I'll even get into that in this video, but it, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of context around the type of things that lead me to believe the concepts that I present to you, or more specifically, how those concepts would potentially tie into one another. So anyway, let's just stick to the concept of multiple realities for this particular discussion. So I have mentioned the law of attraction several times in several other videos at this point on my channel. It has definitely not been the focus of my channel by any means, but I've mentioned it a few times because I wanted to introduce the concept. And for anybody who isn't actually familiar with this concept of the law of attraction, essentially what it is, it's a concept that you essentially attract the things that happen within your reality by your thoughts and perceptions. So if you really think about it and you really kind of dig into the concept, essentially what people who believe in the law of attraction are saying is that reality is not real. Reality is created by your own mind. Reality is essentially something that you are just attracting into your life because of the things that you believe and the things that you think and feel. This concept in and of itself can be very, very difficult for people to accept or for people to even want to listen to, because it seems like complete and utter nonsense. And I realize that, because you can look around you in your 3D world and you can say, well, I feel myself, I'm here, I'm obviously here. I feel the things around me. I feel the ground. I feel the walls, my house, my furniture, my clothes. Everything is real. I can touch it. But this is kind of it's sort of like, if you think about the mind over matter or the placebo effect, these are both concepts that are fairly well accepted within our society, right? So mind over matter is kind of a thing like, well, even though I'm seeing something in a particular way, or I'm believing that something is in a particular way, if I can change my mindset and I can change the way that I look at this thing, then I will physically change what's in front of me, right? Is kind of like a mind over matter kind of concept. And then the placebo effect, of course, is when people get better from an illness simply because they believe that they will get better. So this is something that's actually been tested. There's a lot of scientific research behind it. You can have a person who, it can be something as bad as cancer. Okay, they can have stage 4 cancer. It can be metastasized. I'm sorry, I always have a hard time saying that word. And it can be throughout their entire body, but then they can be given a drug, a trial drug, experimental drug, whatever you want to call it, and they can be part of a group, which means that, I know that most people know what the placebo effect is, but I'm just for anybody who's not familiar. So then, the one group gets the actual drug, and then the other group gets a placebo, which is fake. It's usually just like saline water or completely inactive ingredients, right? So it's not actually doing anything for their body. But if an individual person decides that they are definitely within the actual medicine group, if they truly believe 100% within their own mind that they are receiving this miracle drug, a certain percentage of people, not all people, but somebody who truly believes in these things and truly believes that they will get better, they will legitimately get better. They will show, their cancer will go into remission. They will start to show very little signs of illness. They may even make a full recovery. And most people, I would be willing to bet that 99% of doctors in the medical field accept this concept. It is a legitimate thing that happens. People have healed themselves through the power of their beliefs. These phenomena, these circumstances that happen, these are 100% examples of the law of attraction. These people are attracting health, wellness, healing into their reality. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to say that, well, no, it doesn't mean that they're attracting anything or anything like that. There's just a strong connection between your mind and your beliefs and your actual physical body. And I would say, yes, of course that is the case. But is it really so hard to believe that if you can do something like that, if you can literally heal your own body, or if you can literally change your circumstances just through the power of your belief in yourself or your belief that your situation is going to change, could it not mean that you are in fact creating your entire reality? Now, if you think about this, if you truly stop and think about this, why would it be true for one thing when it's not true for any other thing? If it's true for one thing that you can do this with your mind, wouldn't it be true for literally anything? I really feel like it would. And I'm not telling you these things or asking these hypothetical questions to try to convince you or try to encourage you to believe what it is that I'm saying. I'm just trying to vocalize the thoughts that go through my mind. So these are the ways that I think about these things. These are the ways that I kind of try to rationalize and try to make sense out of the things that I'm seeing and experiencing. And I'm kind of trying to tell you these processes out loud so that maybe you can also begin to think in that way, or so that you can also begin to open your mind to the possibilities of what I'm saying. And like I said, I'm not by any means telling anyone that what I think or what I feel or what I believe is 100% the way that things are. But I think that I'm on the right track with a lot of this stuff, and I'd like to know your thoughts as well. If you think something a little bit different, or you think I'm mostly right with this, but I'm kind of not quite right on this, or whatever it is, please do let me know in the comments, because that's part of the reason that I wanted to do this video, is to spark conversation, to get people thinking and to get people communicating about what the possibilities could be. All right, so I do want to give you guys just a little bit more context as to why I'm even doing this video in the first place. So I am going to have to interject some personal experiences in and out. So it won't so much be, philosophy on one half of the video and then personal experiences on the other half. I'm probably going to interject them into the conversation. So part of the reason that I feel very, very compelled to share what I believe, and to share my concept and to share my philosophies with you is because of some of the experiences that I have had with the perception of reality. So I mentioned reincarnation at the beginning of the video, and like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into that because there's definitely content for its complete own video, or probably even a series of videos around reincarnation. But part of what's prompting me to do this video is an experience that I've had with this. And this is part of what I was talking about with the vulnerability and the things that I struggle with what to share on the channel and everything like that. I'm very hesitant to share this part of my life with everyone, but I'm going to do it anyway because I really feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I've mentioned past life memories several times before on the channel, but I've never really gone too deep into that topic. And I've also mentioned other planes of existence, but I never quite elaborated on that either. But recently, this has been an increasing thing for me, so I really feel like this is something that I do need to talk about. And one of my past life memories, and I have to tell you guys, I do feel crazy. I feel batshit insane telling you guys this stuff, but this is what I'm experiencing, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you. I'm sorry I'm beating around the bush. I have past life memories of being on another plane of existence, okay? I have mentioned that before in passing, but like I said, I've never really gone too deep into it, and I know that part of the reason that I've never gone too deep into it is because even though I talk about crazy stuff on my channel, some of this stuff even feels too crazy for me. You know, like it feels like it's too far out there. It feels like it's outside the realm of what people are going to be willing to listen to or willing to accept. But maybe I'm wrong about that. So anyway, like I said, I feel like part of the reason that I am here, part of the reason that I am on this earthly plane is to share these experiences with people. Because of the fact that I have experienced these things, okay? So basically, if I'm gonna say, look, there are other planes of existence, you know, there's the earthly plane, and then there's multiple other planes of existence, there are entities that reside on those planes of existence, then I also have to really kind of go all in, right? And admit that I truly believe 100% with every depth of my soul that I have been on some of those higher planes of existence. Now, the reason that I am here on the earthly plane once again is a very convoluted, strange, long, weird story that I believe that I probably will eventually tell on the channel, but I'm not there quite yet. It's hard enough for me to talk to you guys about this part of it, about honestly believing that I have been on higher planes of existence. And I've felt that way for a while, but I didn't have any vivid memories or any clear feelings of that having actually been the case. Whereas with my other past life memories, I have, the lives that I can remember are not extensive. There's only like 5 or 6. I'd have to think about it to remember how many there actually are at the moment. But I have, some of the lives I have a lot of vivid memories from that particular time, and other ones I only have a few vivid memories, and then everything else that I get around that lifetime is kind of vague and confusing. So up until recently, I would have some past life memories of a life on another plane of existence, but they were mostly vague and confusing, with only one or two seemingly vivid memories. Well, at this point, I've had so many dreams. Typically, they come to me in dreams. It's not necessarily a memory like a deja vu kind of thing or anything like that where I will relive the memory. It's usually dreams, very vivid dreams, and they don't even feel like dreams. They feel like I'm actually there. I think I might have mentioned that in some of my dream state videos. So please do go check those out. Those kind of tie in with all of this as well. Anyway, I would dare to say that although I am definitely not the only person who has ever claimed to experience something like this, living essentially earthly lives, living human lives or physical form lives, and then at some point ascending to a higher plane of existence, and then returning back to the material plane or the earthly plane or whatever you'd like to call it. I'm certainly not the only soul who has done something like that, but I would dare to say that it's not particularly common. I know it's hard to interject logic into these things, when I'm talking about all this crazy stuff, and then I say, logically speaking, I know that sounds kind of weird. But there is still a certain amount of logic to it, right? Because if you think about it, if you've lived however many lifetimes on the material plane, and you finally get to a point where you do ascend to a higher plane of existence, why in the world would you ever want to come back to the material plane, right? And I think that for most people, I think that ascension is the goal, whether they realize it or not. Whether you believe in multiple planes of existence, or whether you believe there is the earthly plane and the heavenly plane, or whatever your perception of afterlife might possibly be, essentially what everyone, I think, is hoping for is ascension, right? So it doesn't really matter what your beliefs are. The concept essentially is the same, is that once you finish your life, your existence here on the material plane or on the earthly plane, then you will ascend to whatever it is that you choose to believe is beyond this earth. So if that usually is the ultimate goal of a soul, is to ascend, then once you've managed to accomplish ascension, why would you come back, right? So I feel like it's safe to say that it's just not typical. It's just not what would typically happen. So in that sense, my experience is somewhat unique. And this is actually part of the kind of the epiphany that I had that helped me decide to make this video. Is everyone has a purpose. I really, really, truly do believe that everyone has a purpose, and everyone does have a place in their existence, in the cosmos, in existence in general, right? Because even if you do adhere to the concept that we can essentially create our own realities, there's still a collective existence. There's still a cosmos. There's still a greater multi-universal interweb of connection that we all belong to. We are all literally part of the universe, and therefore we all must have a place in the universe. Well, my purpose is to share this knowledge and to share these experiences with people, to help more people understand the true nature of reality. And like I've said multiple times, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, you're crazy, you're insane. I've had people already tell me that before. Your theories are as crazy as you are. That's fine. Like I said, I'm not here to try to convince anyone. If what I'm saying makes a certain amount of sense, or if it's interesting to you, or if it resonates with you in any way, then that is great. If it does not, that's fine. You are more than welcome to believe whatever it is that you want to believe. You are more than welcome to see your reality in any way that you want to see it. But if you choose to be willing to listen to what it is that I have to say, or if you choose to at least be open to the possibility of what it is that I'm saying, then that leads you to a better understanding regardless of whether you actually agree 100% with what it is that I am presenting. So let's try to get back down to basics here just for a short time, just in case I've lost anybody or if anybody's feeling kind of confused about what it is that I'm talking about. So what I'm trying to lay out in a very basic sense is that we do in fact create our realities with our minds, with our perceptions, with our thoughts and our beliefs. There is in fact a multiverse. There are multiple realities within which we all exist. Okay? So let's try to break it down just a little bit to make it easier to understand if that's even remotely possible. If you were to look at it as kind of a big sphere, okay? Picture it as this enormous sphere that encompasses the entire multiverse, okay? And half of this sphere would be existence. Like literally existence itself, the cosmos, the ether, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this would be a place outside of our visual space and time, a place where the universal energy that runs through literally everything in existence resides. The collective energy, maybe this is where God would be, if that's what you choose to believe. Basically, this half of the sphere would be where whatever you believe governs the universe resides. For me, it's more of kind of a universal energy, like I said, a universal force, so to speak, not necessarily a particular entity, but more like a collective consciousness, if you will, or the primary source of the energy that drives the universe, okay, would be in this half of the sphere. In the bottom half of the sphere is going to be the infinite number of realities that you can exist in a physical form. So I always kind of picture it like a file cabinet, where it's just this insanely infinite file cabinet, essentially, where there's just row after row after row after row after row of realities. Because if you're going to believe in this concept, or if you're even going to consider this concept, you have to accept that there would be an infinite number of realities. And the reason that there would be an infinite number of realities is because literally everything has to happen. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what the context is. It doesn't matter how you think of it or anything else. If it's a thought that can be thought, if it's a concept that can be imagined, then it happens. It has to happen. So literally the expression everything happens, a lot of people say everything happens for a reason. Well, I choose to say it as simply everything happens. And that is because of my belief in multiple realities. So there is literally a reality out there where any combination of anything that you could ever imagine in your wildest dreams, it happens. And this is something as simple as you wearing a different colored shirt. So that's the way that the realities would be infinite, right? Because literally this, and I know that this is a very, very deep, very extensive concept to try to wrap your head around, but it would literally be Every single possibility that could ever even remotely be conceived of, there's a reality for it. So there's a reality out there, to give you kind of an example, there's a reality out there right now where instead of wearing the shirt that you're currently wearing, you're wearing a blue shirt. Or you're wearing a red shirt, if you're wearing a blue shirt in this particular reality. And it's that simple. Everything else in that reality might happen exactly the same, except for on this particular day, at this particular time, you were wearing a red shirt instead of a blue shirt. And I know that it sounds ridiculous. I know that it sounds crazy. But if you really kind of get into it and dig into it a little bit and really start to think about the possibilities, it's actually kind of really exciting, in my opinion, because that means that literally anything can happen, you guys. Literally anything is possible. There is no such thing as an impossible thing. And if you want to look at life in a very pessimistic sort of way, then that might be a little bit scary to you. And I can understand that, because I have been a pessimistic person throughout my life. I have been a negative person. I've actually struggled with that many times throughout my life. But by the same token, if you choose to be a positive person, or you tend to be more on the positive side or the more optimistic side, then that literally means that your opportunities and your possibilities are endless. So to me, although this is a very strange concept and it can be somewhat of a frightening concept, to me it's exciting and it's very cool. But at the same time, it can be very frustrating. Because if you are someone like me who has experienced these weird things and truly adheres to these concepts that these things are actually the way that our reality works, when things are not going your way or when things are difficult, it's even more aggravating and frustrating and hard to accept, because you know that it doesn't have to be that way. If you're the type of person who feels like your life is going very well and you're very happy and things are coming to you very easily, you may or may not get any benefit from this video, because you essentially are already living in a suitable reality if your life is going that way, right? Regardless of whether you believe in the law of attraction or whether you believe in multiple realities or anything like that, one way or another, your life is going in a suitable manner. It's, you're in a higher vibration. The reality that you're perceiving is resonating with you, and you probably don't have a lot of reason to even think about these things, unless you got there through using positive affirmations or the law of attraction or something like that. But if you're just the average person who doesn't think a lot about these kind of concepts, you're probably not going to get a lot of benefit out of this particular video unless you're interested in making your life even better, because there's always something better out there for you. And that doesn't mean that you should be dissatisfied with what it is that you're currently experiencing, but it's just a good way to keep yourself positive and to let yourself know that whatever your circumstances are, even if they're great, things can always get even better for you, and you can achieve ultimate happiness within this lifetime. Now, I really feel like this video is probably more for people who are struggling, for people who are in a place where life is not going the way that they wish that it would, or they're unhappy with their life, or they're displeased, or even people who are feeling depressed and potentially hopeless at this moment in your life. Please do listen. I know that this has already been a very long video. We're already about 40 minutes in. So if you are still listening, I greatly appreciate this. But if you are someone who is struggling with your current reality, I really hope that you are still listening, and I really want to direct this video towards you. Because part of the reason that I am talking about these things, and part of the reason that I feel so confident that these things are the way that reality actually works, is because of the things that have been happening not only in my life, throughout my life, but especially within the last month. So anyway, getting back to the visualization that I was talking about just for a few moments. So you have this enormous sphere, right? And in the top half of the sphere is the energy that governs the universe, and in the bottom half of the sphere are these infinite realities. This infinite file cabinet, like I mentioned before. I actually like to think of it as like the file cabinet that's in the movie Bruce Almighty. It's an older Jim Carrey movie where he assumes the role of God, essentially. And he, at one point, Morgan Freeman, who plays the role of God, says that he has literally every bit of information that could ever possibly exist about the character that Jim Carrey is playing, right? And when he goes to open that file cabinet, he pulls it open and it just shoots for like crazy long distance all the way across the room, right? For some reason, it reminds me of that concept. It's literally an infinite file system. And please bear with me on the movie references, you guys. I don't know that I've really made a whole lot of movie references on this channel as of yet, but movies have always played a very big role in my life, and I love movies. So as my personality comes out a little bit more here and there, and as I share more about my personal life with you, you will see that I make a lot of movie references, and a lot of my analogies do have to do with things that have kind of resonated with me in movies and TV probably too as well. Anyway, so you have these infinite number of realities that you can possibly reside in within your physical form, right? So how do we move throughout these realities? Are we just stuck in one reality even though there's multiple, infinite, whatever? How do we move? How do we get to these different realities? How does this work? This is where the law of attraction comes into play. When you think about something, when you believe something, when you adhere to a certain perception that you have about any given situation, you are going to attract that thing into your life. The way that you are attracting those things into your life is you're not literally creating it, okay? People a lot of times try to say we're the creator of our realities or something along those lines, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. It's just that you're not literally creating it. I also don't particularly like the word manifest, because that also sounds like you are physically creating it. You're not creating the reality. You're attracting it. You're attracting the situations. So if you are here, you're existing in your 3D, and you truly believe something, anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Say you believe that life is super easy and everything comes to you in a very easy way, and you never have to try really hard for anything. Well, you're going to attract that into your reality. You're going to see those things in your life. You're going to experience those things because that is your perception of how your particular reality is. By the same token, if you truly believe that your life is going to be awful, that terrible things are going to happen to you, that maybe you're cursed or something along those lines, you're going to attract that into your reality as well. So basically what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to illustrate here is that you have all of these infinite number of realities out there, and whatever you choose to perceive, whatever you choose to see, those are the realities that you're going to shift to. Now, this is something that always happens. It happens whether you want it to or not. It happens whether you are deliberately trying to do this or not. Whether you have a concept of it, whether you can even conceive of it, whether you even have any idea that anything like this is even remotely possible, it's happening to you nonetheless. So, the way I look at it is, if this is in fact the way that existence works, if this is in fact why we see the things that we see within our personal realities, it's only logical that you would begin to deliberately try to shift yourself to a desirable reality, right? So if you've gotten to the point where you understand this concept, you even remotely accept the concept or possibility of multiple realities in any way whatsoever, why would you not want to have that control in a matter of speaking? You know, why would you not want to be fully responsible for the things that you experience in your life, right? I know that some people would probably look at it as, well, I don't like that thought. I don't like the concept that whatever I do, whatever I think, whatever I worry about is going to show up in my life. But that's a very negative way to look at it. And I get it, because I get afraid of that too, to be quite honest. I worry about that. But see, that's the vicious cycle that we're actually in. When you worry, you put too much emphasis on the thing that you're worried about, and therefore you do in fact attract it into your reality. So what I'm getting at right now is, if you are struggling, please stop for a moment. Take time away from whatever it is that has you stressed, whatever it is that has you feeling down, whatever it is that is disrupting your life. Take a break from that for just a short time and start to consider the possibility that you are drawing these things into your life, and that you do in fact have the ability, not only the ability, but the power to stop it, to experience something different, to experience something completely opposite of what is currently happening in your life right now. I have to be completely honest. I love the idea of being 100% responsible for my reality. And that wasn't always the case, because when I first started to think about these things, and when I first started to truly contemplate the real possibility of multiple realities and things like that, I did find it scary. I found it frightening that I might be able to draw myself into some horrible thing, or some horrible existence, or some horrible reality that I definitely didn't want to be in. And when you have that mindset, it is legitimately easier to get the things that you don't want. And I'm not telling you that to scare you or to put you off of the concept or the thought or the idea of the law of attraction. I'm telling you that so that you can kind of try to understand that fear and worry are the things that actually make our lives difficult. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to experience those things. But one thing that you do have to do is you do have to begin to try to accept that all of the things that have happened throughout your life, you have drawn those things to you. And if you're someone like me who has had a somewhat difficult life, if you've been abused, if you've just had a lot of unfortunate experiences, or a lot of struggle, or a lot of poverty or strife, or any difficult things within your life, it can be very easy to look at yourself as being a victim. It can be very easy to look at yourself as this innocent person who's had a lot of terrible things happen. And I'm not saying that you're not innocent. I'm just saying that your biggest mistake, your biggest flaw, is that you're looking outside of yourself. You're wanting to blame other people for the things that have been unfortunate within your life. So maybe it was your parents, maybe your parents were abusive, Maybe you feel like you've had a string of bad luck with the relationships that you've been in. Maybe you feel like you've had a string of bad luck with your jobs, or, it can be anything. Maybe your overall life has just felt kind of crappy, and it's very easy to look at it and be like, well, this happened, and this person did this to me, and this happened like this, and all of these things have been working against me. Maybe you even feel like the universe is against you, or God is against you, or something of that nature. And once again, I am not judging. I have been there, okay? I have been that person. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm sorry to say it this way, but I'm just going to be blunt about it. It's your fault. It's your perception. It's your beliefs. It's the things that you have allowed to come into your life and dominate your attention and your focus that have brought you to this place in your life. And please believe me that I am speaking from a literal place of experience. The life that I have right now at the moment, it is not the life that I want in any way whatsoever. And part of what I've been struggling with over this last month or so, part of the reason that I haven't been posting on my channel is because I've been going through a bit of an existential crisis, really. Not necessarily a crisis, but just like a realization. I don't really want to say an awakening because I've been going through these kind of things for a while, but this past, month or two has just, so many things have happened and so many things have changed. And I have literally seen so many things attracting into my reality because of me, because of my thoughts, of my actions, of my perception of who I am, who I'm supposed to be, and where I am in my existence. And I understand a lot more about all of that right now. I understand a lot more about how reality actually works. Like I said, the title of this video, The True Nature of Reality. The true nature of reality is within us. It's within you. It is within your thoughts and your perceptions, and it is very subjective. And if you think about it in this way, there almost has to be an infinite number of realities because everybody's perception is subjective. Everybody has a perception that is based on the things that they have seen and the things that they have experienced and the things that they have come to believe to be true. So one of the biggest questions that you might be asking right now is why? What's the point of it all? Why would there be multiple realities? Why would we be able to shift between them? That I don't know, okay? Obviously, I do not understand 100% all the secrets of the universe. If I did, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you on a little YouTube channel, right? I would probably be some amazing guru or something like that. But like I've said many times, I am not the master of anything. I am not an expert of anything. I have just had a lot of experiences, and I believe that I've come to understand a lot of different things, and I want to share this with people because I want to help them understand as well. Because if you can try to draw these concepts into your life, if you can try to implement even some of these ideas into your life, you will see a change in your world. You will see a change in your life, in how you live. And I truly believe that the overreaching purpose of life, like not your individual purpose, but the overall purpose, the overall reason that we even experience these things at all, is to gain knowledge, to gain an understanding of your place in the universe. And not just your place in the universe as far as like your individual purpose, but the fact that you are part of everything. You are part of the collective. The simple fact that you are even here listening to this video, even considering any of the things that I'm saying right now, is proof that you are an integral part of the multiverse. Because you wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be listening to my video, you wouldn't be existing in a physical form if you didn't play some part within existence. So at any rate, the point that I'm ultimately trying to make with this is that you do have a certain amount of control over the things that you're witnessing, the things that you're seeing, the things that you're experiencing, and the things that you're perceiving within your life. And so if you're struggling with life, then this is a concept that I really want you to try to accept. I really want you to at least think about it and at least consider it. Because you can change your world. You can change your life. And your thoughts, your perception, your concepts and acceptance of reality will literally never be the same once you start to consider these things and once you start to test it and kind of see how you can be a master of your own reality, essentially. Anyway, I think that I probably should go ahead and wrap this particular video up. This is something that I could literally talk about forever. So, it might continue to go off in little tangents here and there. But please let me know what you think so far of the video. Please let me know what you think about the concepts. Please let me know where you are at with your beliefs or with what you have seen or with what you think about the law of attraction or anything else that I said in this video, okay? I really do love to read your guys' comments, and I do love it when you make comments because I would like for people to share their own experiences so other people out there can see that it's not just me talking about all these crazy things and all these things that I've allegedly experienced, okay? That there's other people out there who have had similar things happen or who also believe in the same things that I'm postulating. Anyway, I'm tired and I'm starting to babble just a little bit, actually probably a lot of bit. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this one up. As always, thank you so much for listening. I will actually, I promise, be talking to everyone again very soon at this point. Thank you so much. Bye.